Water filled his lungs for a split second, but that's not what Marcus Reed remembers most. What he remembers is the sound of metal cuffs snapping shut while a little boy he had just dragged out of a lake was coughing up water behind him. 1 minute he was kneeling in the dirt counting compressions, praying the kid would breathe. The next he was face down with a cop's knee grinding into his spine, hearing the words, "Stop resisting," like some bad joke. Yeah, that happened. It was late July in coastal Georgia, the kind of heat that makes your shirt stick to your back before you even reach your car. I didn't mind it. After 3 tours overseas, humidity feels like background noise. Marcus didn't go to Cypress Lake Park looking for trouble. He went there because routine kept his head straight. 43 years old retired Army First Sergeant Shrapnel still sitting in his right hip from Kandahar Purple Heart in a wooden case at home Silver Star he never mentioned unless somebody forced him. Saturdays were simple. Park the truck straight, walk the loop around the lake, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. That was cheaper than therapy, you know what I mean. That morning the VA had called. Disability claim delayed again. Paperwork missing again. Marcus hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. He told himself he wasn't angry, just tired. There's a difference, though. Sometimes it's thin. He went to the park anyway because water helps quiet the static in his head. He saw the kid before anyone else did. Skinny little boy, red soccer ball bouncing way too close to the edge. That part of the lake looks calm, but there's a drainage pipe underneath that pulls like a rip current. Marcus shifted on the bench and thought about saying something, but nobody likes the random guy telling them how to raise their kid. He took another breath instead. Then he heard it. Not a playful splash, a heavy one. Wrong. The red ball floated back up. The kid didn't. Tanner, his mom, screamed, and that scream cut straight through everything. Marcus didn't think. He moved. Boots hit the pier, hard hip flaring, but adrenaline pushing it aside. He vaulted the railing and hit the water. It was colder than it looked, thick with silt. He opened his eyes underwater and couldn't see a thing. Reached out, blind lungs burning, seconds ticking down. His fingers brushed fabric, a t-shirt. He grabbed and pulled. The boy was limp, dead weight. Marcus kicked off the bottom and broke the surface, gasping, hauling the kid toward shore. "I got him," he shouted, already back in command mode without realizing it. He laid the boy on the grass. Blue lips. No breath. "Back up," Marcus said, steady, not loud, just certain. He tilted the head, cleared the airway, started compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. "Come on, buddy. Stay with me." He gave rescue breaths, tasted mud and lake water. His arms burned. The mother sobbed nearby, hands shaking so bad she couldn't stand straight. Phones started coming out. Somebody whispered, "Is he gone?" "Not today," Marcus muttered. Then the boy coughed. A violent gag, water spilling out. He sucked in air and started crying, that loud, messy, beautiful cry that means life. The mom fell over him, hugging him like she'd never let go again. She looked up at Marcus with tears streaming down her face. Thank you, oh my God, thank you." Marcus just nodded. His hands were shaking now that the adrenaline was wearing off. He stood up slowly, water dripping from his shirt and shorts, feeling the ache creep back into his hip. He didn't want applause. He wanted to leave before the crowd swallowed him. That's when the sirens came in. The cruiser didn't roll up calm. It tore across the grass lights, flashing like something dramatic had happened, which it had, just not the way they thought. The driver door flew open and Officer Tyler Boone stepped out, jaw tight, hand resting on his holster like he'd already made up his mind. "Step away from them," Boone shouted. Marcus froze, palms up. "Officer, I just pulled him out of the water." "I said step back." The mother spun around. "He saved my son." Boone didn't look at her. His eyes locked on Marcus. Big black man, soaking wet, standing near a crying white woman and child. The story had already written itself in his head. "We got a call about an assault," Boone snapped. "You match the description." Marcus blinked. "Look at me, I'm soaked. He's soaked. I was doing CPR." "On the ground, now." There's a moment when you realize logic won't help. Marcus felt it. Still, he tried. "Let's slow this down. Nobody here is saying I hurt anyone." Boone stepped in closer. "Turn around." The mother screamed. "Are you crazy?" He saved Tanner. Boone kicked Marcus's legs apart. The bad hip buckled. Marcus dropped to one knee, pain shooting up his spine like electricity. "Stop resisting," Boone yelled. Marcus hadn't moved. A knee slammed into his back. His face hit dirt. Mud filled his mouth again, but this time he couldn't breathe because of the weight pressing down on him. "I am not resisting," Marcus said through clenched teeth. Cold steel clicked around his wrists. "Everyone's a hero once the cuffs come out," Boone muttered. The mom was hysterical now. "You're arresting the man who saved my child." Boone hauled Marcus up and shoved him toward the cruiser. Assault, disorderly conduct, resisting. Marcus tried to step, but his hip screamed. "I'm a disabled vet," he said quietly. "My hip." "Sure you are," Boone sneered. "They all are." Inside the car, the AC blasted against his wet clothes, turning them icy. Marcus stared out the window and counted 1, 2, 3, compartmentalize. Like training, like survival. Up front, Boone tried to sound casual. Got real quiet back there. Marcus didn't answer. The rookie in the passenger seat checked his phone. Tyler, this might not look good. What? Someone filmed it. It's already online. Boone scoffed. Doesn't show what happened before. There was nothing before Marcus said calmly from the back. Shut up. At the station, the desk sergeant looked at Marcus dripping lake water onto the floor. What happened? Resisting, Boone answered quickly. Marcus spoke evenly. I pulled a drowning child out of Cypress Lake. He arrived while I was doing CPR. The sergeant paused. Name: Marcus Allen Reed. Occupation: Marcus held his gaze. Retired U.S. Army, First Sergeant. The computer chimed. A flag popped up. Purple heart, silver star. The sergeant looked at Boone. Take the cuffs off. Boone stiffened. Sarge, I said take them off. Marcus rubbed the deep red marks on his wrists and stood straight despite the pain in his hip. He didn't thank anyone. He didn't smile. He just existed there steady. Meanwhile, the video exploded online. CPR, hands up, kick, knee, cuffs. The caption read, Cop arrests man who just saved kid. Within an hour, the boy's father walked into the station. Daniel Whitaker, county commissioner, loud supporter of law enforcement, not the type to rock the boat. That day, he wasn't a politician. He was a father who'd almost lost his son. I want him released, Whitaker said, voice shaking with anger. Now. Boone's confidence cracked. Marcus made his phone call, not to a bondsman, to Evelyn Price, civil rights attorney known for dismantling cases brick by brick. When she arrived, she didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Preserve everything she told the captain, because this isn't about an apology, it's about accountability. Charges were dropped that same evening. Marcus walked outside into a crowd of reporters and protesters. Someone handed him a cane because his hip was done pretending. Mrs. Whitaker pushed through cameras and grabbed his hand. You gave me my son back, she said. Marcus swallowed. Is he okay? He's alive because of you. 3 months later, the lawsuit hit like a storm. False arrest, excessive force, civil rights violations, emotional distress, $8.2 million. The deposition was where it really broke open. Evelyn paced slowly. Officer Boone was Mr. Reed holding a weapon. No. Threatening anyone? No. Then why was your hand on your gun? I assessed a threat, based on what his wet clothes or his skin. The city attorney objected, but the question lingered. They played the video frame by frame, no lunge, no aggression, just hands raised. Would you handle it differently today? Evelyn asked. Boone hesitated, then doubled down. No, I'd do it again. My job is to go home safe. The room went silent. Evelyn nodded. Thank you. It was over. The county settled before trial, $8.2 million. But that wasn't the end. Criminal charges followed. Aggravated battery, filing a false report, official misconduct. At sentencing, the judge said quietly, you used your badge as a weapon of ego. 10 years. The gavel hit. Marcus didn't celebrate. He didn't feel victorious. He felt tired, relieved, heavy in a different way. Reporters asked if he was satisfied. I didn't want this, he said into the microphones. I wanted to walk in a park. I wanted to save a kid. That's it. He used the settlement to start the Reed Initiative, legal defense for veterans wrongfully accused, funding for de-escalation training. 6 months later, he walked back to Cypress Lake. Cooler air, leaves turning, limp still there, but lighter. Tanner ran up with a soccer ball and hugged his leg. Mr. Marcus, watch this. There was a plaque on the bench now, in honor of Marcus Reed, who chose courage when it mattered. He traced his name with his thumb and looked out at the water. The lake kept moving like nothing had happened. That's how life works. Here's the part I keep coming back to. Boone probably thought he was protecting himself. Maybe he truly believed he saw danger. But if a man kneeling over a dying child looks like a threat to you, what does that say about how you see the world? So I want to ask you, was 10 years enough? Did justice really happen, or was it just damage control? Have you ever watched someone get judged before they even opened their mouth? If you were standing in that park, would you have spoken up? Would you have filmed it? Would you have stepped between a badge and a man on the ground? Tell me what you think in the comments. Share your story if you've seen something like this. Let's talk about bias, about power, about what accountability really looks like in real life. And if this story hit you in the chest the way it hit me, like the video, share it with someone and subscribe. Because these conversations, uncomfortable as they are how things actually start to change.